we started this thing. I'll never forget the first few meetings that we had. There were 6 or 7 of us sitting around trying to figure out what to do and how to do this. And when we pulled it off, we said we hope that the community supports it, but we especially hope that the media supports it, because that's what will drive traffic to it. And your support was phenomenal. Your in-kind contributions were remarkable. Your coverage of this was just as remarkable. And 40,000 people showed up here on a Saturday morning, and thank you. And then came back and knocked it out of the park again in 18, and you're all here again today. So we couldn't even think about having this without the strong support again from the Toledo media. A lot of you have asked me before this show started, this program started, they asked me what made us do this again. To be really honest with you, we're not sure we were going to do it again. When we got done with the 3 days, everybody was exhausted. Our volunteers were exhausted. We thought maybe our donors were exhausted. And we weren't sure if maybe we should just take a year off, and like we did between 16 and 17, and create this third sort of thing. And that was kind of the consensus. And then after Christmas, Jerry called up, and Whitney called up, and some of our donors called up and said, hey, when are we going to start those Jeep Fest meetings? And at that point, we really weren't going to, but we decided to do it. And really, the impetus for it was the Jeep Gladiator. We just can't imagine the excitement that we're going to create this year, different than the last one. We need the parade off with that Jeep Gladiator coming down the street. So that's really what triggered this. And then the second thing was our donors will be there. And of course, we're so lucky in this town to have people like Randy Oster from ProMedica, and Jim Kamsikis from Dana, who really came in and said, we're in again as title sponsor. So thank you so much for those guys. And I want to say this about Dana before I bring Jim up here. Dana is in 2016 when we started this, we had not getting small group of people sitting around the boardroom at local 12, and we really didn't know how to do it. We knew we wanted to do it, but we didn't know how. We didn't know how to start it. And Jeff Cole from Dana had a conversation with Jeff and said, let me see if I can help you out. He sent some guys over. And Zach came over, Randall came over, John came over, and sat in our boardroom every week and told us what we needed to do and how to do it and how Dana was going to support, especially with vendors. They really helped us get the vendor piece put together. We didn't know how to do stuff like that. So a huge thank you to Dana for starting this thing off in 2016. And then, of course, 2018, they come back and be a title sponsor. Appreciate that again. See Jeff back there, Jim's here. Thank all of you again for doing that. And then this year, Dana comes back and agrees to be a title sponsor again in 2019. I want to just say this about Dana. We wouldn't be having this conversation today without Dana. Dana, their axles are legendary. Dana put us on the road in the late 1930s and early 1940s, especially in 1941. We would have never won the government contract to build 350,000 military Jeeps without those Dana powertrains, Dana axles, Dana drive lines, all this, and Spicer material too. There's no chance that we've got to where we are. And then, of course, the rest is history. Almost 8 years later, we're still here. And then Dana goes out and creates this aftermarket for a vehicle. So it's the most popular SUV in the world on the road. And it's also the most popular SUV in the world off the road. Thank you to the group at Dana. Can't say enough about their support for this. Can't say enough about their CEO. Everybody knows Sergio Marchione, right? Because he was on TV all the time. This is the Sergio Marchione for Dana. Very humble, very quiet guy. What a phenomenal leader we have in Toledo. Jim Kamsikis, come on up. Say
Thank you very much, Bruce. You know, it's truly an honor, not just for myself, but for Dana to be here today and to be part of such an incredible event. You're right, we may be headquartered here in metropolitan Toledo, but we touch the world along with Fiat Chrysler, with the Jeep, everywhere around the world. And I think everybody understands that, and it's part of what we are. We have to make sure we carry the legacy collectively together around the world. And as we know, they have not been able to essentially make as many Wranglers as they could sell over the last 3 to 4 to 5 years. And I'm telling you, I spent most of last week up at the Detroit Auto Show. Many of you have seen it. It's outside here today, the new Gladiator. It was the talk of the town, and it's going to be another great vehicle that's going to touch so many people in the off-road enthusiast market and everywhere else. So the 3,000 people, plus minus, in the greater metropolitan Toledo area are excited to be a supporter of this event. We've been on the Jeep since its very, very beginning, the infancy of the Jeep here. And actually, as you mentioned just a minute ago, I find it particularly, because I'm into trivia, besides Willys Overland, Ford Motor Company, Bantam, and the U.S. Army. Dana is the company that is actually has been given the recognition of being one of 5 inventors of the Jeep. Isn't that kind of crazy? It is crazy, right? So, like everything we all do, at the end of the day, they'll remember for how you touch people, and we believe through Jeep and with Fiat Chrysler, we find a way to touch. We touch Toledo, and Toledo touches us. So, on behalf of the entire Dana family, thank you for everything you do to support us, and we're going to continue to support you guys. Thank you very much.
You're living under a rock if you don't know the next guy, so I'm not going to give a long introduction to Randy Ocean, but I tell you this. I appreciate him so much. Every time I see him, I see more buildings going up and more growth in our community. I ask him this all the time because they're mad at me, I think, but I said, I need your height and weight. He said, why do you need my height and weight? I said, we're going to start your statue. He has absolutely been a phenomenal asset in the community. What a tremendous leader. You're welcome, Randy Ocean.
So in 2017, we got a request to consider supporting Jeep Fest. And like any other organization, we had a lot of meetings and a lot of discussions and kind of beat it to death. You know, everybody's got an opinion. And so we said, okay, we'll give it a shot. And then this year we got asked again, and it like literally was like, yeah, we got to do this. And so why do we have to do this? And I think it's for what we already heard today. What a great celebration of Toledo. What a great way to celebrate kind of the revitalization of downtown. A great way to celebrate, you know, really what made the city great, the working people of Toledo. You know, we're a community that people work hard, that live hard, and this is really just a celebration. And then when you went to the event last year, what a first-class event. The volunteers, the coordination, the organization of the event. And whether you drive a Jeep or not, you couldn't help but be proud. People from around the country, walking up and down, seeing all the vendors. And really, I think it's really, you know, a celebration of our community. So we're happy to be here. We're happy to have it back downtown. We're pleased to be associated with quality people, you know, an organization, Jeep, that if you ask, you know, Fiat Chrysler, if you've seen their quotes, really what kept them going all the years, what kept them going through the good times and the bad times, it was 2 things. It was the workforce of Toledo, Ohio, and it was Jeep. And I think as people from Toledo, Ohio, we should celebrate that. And what better way to do it a little on a warmer day than today than to have another Jeep Festival in Toledo. We're excited to be part of it. Thank you very much.
We couldn't figure out where to do it. Pete Perkins said, let's do it downtown. We said, Pete, it's off-road. We're not doing downtown. It was his idea. Bring it downtown, and what a home run he hit. Grand Slam home run. And Pete Perkins hit that. Come on up, Pete.
Well, here we go again. 2019, we're doing Jeep Fest again, and it's always been an interesting decision to get there. And I think, Randy, our decision was a little harder than yours to do this again. Everybody's tired after the first 2. In fact, we took a year off, but we came back last year. And I got to tell you, the first year was magic. Bruce, you're right. Some of us were sitting around either in the boardroom at Local 12 or up in my office. We looked out the window of my corner office at the Government Center. We saw downtown. We go, this is where it belongs. It doesn't belong out there. It doesn't belong over there. It belongs in the heart of our community. This is where our pride is. 2 things about this is, if you can go anywhere in the world and say 2 words in English, and they'll know what you mean. You can say the word Coke, and you can say the word Jeep. And guess what? Toledo is the Jeep. So it's almost like saying Toledo anywhere in the world, and it's a Jeep, and that's why we have it here. Since 1941, we've been making these things. I'm proud to have been part of that assembly team as a young man and a 30-year retiree from the Jeep plant. And one reason that's important to me because it's the people in that plant, the people came before me and the people that are after me, that keep the pride alive. And when you keep pride alive at this level, and we're glad for FCA's ownership now, but let's face it, we've been owned by the French, we've been owned by the Germans, we've been owned by the Americans, I think we are partially owned by the U.S. government, we are even owned by a hedge fund for a long time. One thing never changed. We are Toledo, and we are the Jeep. And we're going to make the best product in the world, and the plant that only can make them in the world in North Toledo. And that's why we deserve, and the country and the community deserves a Jeep Fest celebration. Now we've added some extras this year. First of all, the truck. There's no way we could not do it this year when the truck came rolling out the way it's been waited for. Everybody's waited for decades for a truck to come out like this, and it's right out front. That had to do it. Guess what? Now this year we're going to sprinkle in a mud ends on the same weekend, so we couldn't do the other years. So we had the best of two Toledo traditions: the mud ends, the Jeep, and a concert, and downtown. You better get your reservations early. But I just want to finish by saying this. This event could not have occurred, even though you see all the people up here, the power structures, the people with money and influence and power. This thing doesn't work without the volunteers. People like Joanne Matney, who is sitting here, standing here with us, and the Jeep retiree volunteers that first signed up to do this event, and then it spread to the rest of the community. The only way this fest works is because people of this city give their time and their heart and their pride to come and be part of it. And you can never pay for that. So, Jeep Fest 2019, here we come. Gladiator, lead us on the way. Buddy and Madonna, we're coming to see you, and everybody's going to have a ball.
Jerry Huber kept us on the road in the 80s, and most of you know this. I've been here a long time. Some of you, I'm looking around and see some of the people. 1987, we're the worst plant in Chrysler. The worst plant. We had the highest grievance load in the corporation. We got 1,600 grievances on the agenda every single day. American Motors sells us to Chrysler. Chrysler comes in and says, we didn't buy the workforce, we didn't buy this old facility, we bought 4 letters, J-E-E-B. They brought Jerry Huber in to be the plant manager. The end of the story is this: the next 5 years we're the #1 Chrysler plant in North America. Chrysler HR guys used to tease me. They said, hell, we get more tours than Disneyland. And we did. Chrysler had every plant in North America come to Toledo, Ohio to find out how to build cars under his leadership. So guess what happened on Jeep Fest? I called Jerry Huber. Said, hey man, we got this thing started. I said, I need you. He said, I'll give you, what do you need? I said, I just need a couple months to get the thing going. He didn't know it was 4 years later. Jerry Huber, come on up.
Thank you, Bruce. Just an anecdote, but the hardest thing for a union president to do and the hardest thing for a plant manager to do is to really lay off anybody. Doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, it's a tough day when you have to lay off anybody. We went through those grievances. We didn't go through them quickly. It took us a long time. But we got to the point where Bruce and I had to lay off our arbitrator. And that was a great day. So, well, look, everybody's had some good words to say. We're going to do it again. Our goal is to do it bigger and better than any Jeep event in the United States. And I think we're onto a good plan for that. We're going to base a lot of our activity and enthusiasm on this new product, the Gladiator. We were lucky enough from the friends over at the plant to get one over here. It was tough this week because the Detroit Auto Show, all the show vehicles and so forth are pretty well tied up. When that one got here this morning, the fellow that drove it over, Danny, we had to take the plastic off the wheel because it was fresh off the line. So at this point, I'd like to welcome you to go outside. I know it's cold out there, but take a few minutes, enjoy the vehicles that are out there. It represents a lot of the heritage and the history of not only the Jeep products, but the Jeep trucks in particular. The Gladiator is the newest, and it's the slickest one that's out there, but there's a lot of history, and Jeep trucks have been around since, I believe, 1947. So it's not new to the market, but this new vehicle out here is going to be a trendsetter. Those of you that had the opportunity to see it at the auto show, and if you get a chance to take a look at it outside here, it's going to bring a lot of acclaim to the Toledo area and the Toledo workforce. And I guess the bottom line that I'll close this with is that, you know, when we do the Jeep Fest, yeah, it's about Jeep. But Randy and Jim and Bruce have stated, it's about Toledo. Toledo is part of Jeep, and Jeep is part of Toledo. As is the case with Dana. And that's why it's a fun, family, and friendly event. We like to get as many people to come. If you don't own a Jeep, that's fine. You probably will after you see these, but it's a real important element of our event because it celebrates not only the rich history and the bright future of the Jeep, It also celebrates what's going on in Toledo, and we partnered with, Imagination Station, the zoo, obviously our sponsors, and so forth. You can't look around the Toledo area and not be proud of what's going on. And when you have 60,000 people, some from 27 different states that were here in August of last year, everybody was impressed, and that's a credit to what you in this room have done, from the volunteers and the media people, and everybody that sets our best foot forward for those 3 days. And believe me, I think it pays off. I appreciate it. Enjoy the vehicles outside, and thanks for coming out on a really cold day. Thank you.